Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here, I'm Kathryn, the Aerogarden Homesteader, and today I am doing an update on all of the plants in my Aerogarden. This is the cherry tomato, and it has started to push out some new flowers. It's got all this new growth on the side here. It still has a few tomatoes from the last batch that it put out, but it is definitely putting out a lot of new growth, and hopefully it'll start flowering soon and pushing out more tomatoes. So this has been doing really well. Underneath, the stem looks awesome. So this has been doing really well. I am pleased with it. And then over here, this is the habanero. I think I finally got the name down. But anyways, this has been, it's pushing out a lot of growth. It seems like it's really sort of coming out more on the sides now. It is not growing straight up. So I guess that's kind of a good thing. It does look like there's some flowers that may not make it. Yeah, that one didn't. But then there's a lot of flowers over here that are all open that I need to come through and kind of tap and make sure they get pollinated. There's another big cluster over there, cluster over here. There's a bunch underneath. It's just covered in flowers. And it is so bushy. It's really like a very compact bushy plant. And I don't know if most habaneros grow this way or if it's just this one. I don't know. But underneath, that is a thick stem. That's thick. So that is in the 3-inch net cup, and it's doing really well. So I feel like I'm not going to have any problems getting that out, but it is growing really well, and I am quite pleased with how it is doing. It is starting to outgrow the bounds of the light for the harvest, but you know what? It still looks good. So today is a feed day. I think I'm going to keep both the small cherry tomato here and the habanero on 20. The Bounty will get 30, and I think I'm going to have to evaluate the other tomato to see if it's worth keeping it going or not, but that's a different discussion. But anyways, so that's how these two are doing. This is how the other cherry tomato is doing. It has grown way out of bounds. It's gotten insane. So this one, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take it down because it did have a little bit of a spider mite infestation over here on the side where the other plant from the nursery had been. And I have been trying to treat it, but you know, it's sitting on a desk. This Aerogarden, well, this Back to the Roots garden, doesn't, like, I can't just take the reservoir off and take the plant outside and soak it. I'd have to take the whole unit out, which then means I need to reset the timing on it, which is a bit of a pain in the butt because you got to make sure you get up early enough. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take this one down so we don't have to worry about the spider mites carrying over to anything else, because, you know, I got all those other plants in the kitchen and this is right around the corner from it, so I don't want to contaminate them. So this one, I think we're going to take it down, and we're probably going to put in a Bounty here and probably get some lettuce started. So I am going to try starting lettuce on a new Bounty deck with the 3-inch net cups and just do 2 big lettuce heads and see, like, what can we do with it? How big will they get? How will it work? And we can work on the seed sprouting thing. The strawberry seed did not sprout yet. I'm not going to bother showing you that. It just looks the same. I think we're going to have to sprout that on paper towel or something, you know, wet paper towel, and go from there. And I think it'll do a lot better doing it that way than trying to start it on a rock. But lettuce sprouts really fast, and I think lettuce would sprout really well on a wet lava rock, so I am going to try that. But in the meantime, this is how this one is doing. So it will just come down, probably give it another day or two just to let this cherry tomato finish ripening, but at that point I will just take it down, which is, it's a bit of a shame because it looks pretty good. It's pushing out a whole bunch of new growth, has some flowers, there's one right there, and this one that's gotten away from me has put a bunch out there. Technically, I could just chop this stem, root it in some water, and then put it in a pot or something, but, you know, the fear of spider mites has kind of got me a little afraid, so it's just going. And finally, this is how the jalapeno and the mystery pepper, I think it's a Hungarian wax, honestly. It kind of looks like it. It's a very mild pepper. There's no spice to it whatsoever. I've been using it when I make small batches of salsa. I threw some in my salad. It's a reasonable pepper. Actually what I would like to do is look up for a small batch of like pickled, you know, like those sandwich peppers, and cut these into rings and pickle them up and just do a small batch, because there's quite a number on here, and you know, at some point they will start changing color and turning red, So I would like to use them while they're still kind of in this state, which would be nice. And then over here, I do have some jalapenos. There's the one back there that's hiding, and then there's one up here. And then there's a couple of other little ones all over the place. It has gotten a bit bigger. The light is now up as high as it will go. So at this point, I might have to start pruning for height, which, you know, sometimes it's a shame because all of these new nodes that it put out, they all have flower clusters in them. So, you know, by pruning that out, I do lose some of the potential peppers that it could push out, but at the same time, you know, it's only got so much room. Now, on to sort of a different topic. I did start printing out a new bounty deck, and so I sort of screwed this one up, which that was on me. I tried cutting the pegs to get it to fit, which, yeah, it did fit, but you know, I should have just moved the holes and reprinted a middle piece. Now I got to reprint the whole thing, but unfortunately what's going on is I blew a fan on the 3D printer, so that's just sort of in wait and see mode. I gotta order a new fan, and yeah. If you want to help support this channel, I have some affiliate links down in the show notes below. That helps me get things like this a lot faster, but it will probably take me a little bit just to, you know, save up a little bit of Amazon credit and get the new fan. So, because I don't want to just order something and then have to pay a ton of shipping, which is probably going to cost more than the fan itself. So I kind of have to pull together, you know, the minimum order. But anyways, that's sort of where that is. It's stalled a little bit. I had worked on the farm deck. I do need to print a prototype of that. It's going to be 6 pieces. So I didn't want to print the pieces too big and have warping going on. At the same time, I'm limited to the size of my print bed. I do think I have like a standard size print bed. The 220 by 220 by 220, I think, is sort of a standard size. It's like 8-inch square. So, you know, most people would have that size printer, I think, and it would just be easier to work with, you know, a file that's that way. But yeah, no, the peppers are doing really well. I am quite pleased with how they're looking. This one is definitely a lot bushier than the jalapeno. I'm kind of waiting for the jalapeno to push out more side growth, but, you know, maybe it just doesn't want to do it right now. So that is how everything is doing. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you so much for joining me. I will have some videos up at the end that you might enjoy, and I will see you next time on the Aerogarden Homestead.